After tonight, Season 11 is halfway home, and what a better way to reach the hump than a race in the Court of the King. For the 7th time in series history, the drivers of the Venom Truck Series take to the concrete jungle of the Nashville Superspeedway, where tonight we honor all those who have paid the ultimate sacrifice and all veterans of the United States Armed Forces. It's the Slingin Crete 150 presented by Light Moon LLC, and it's right here on PGR eSports. Welcome in, one and all, to tonight's coverage of the Venom Truck Series here on PGR. I'm Tommy Cook. We've got Tyler Vickery alongside. I'm very happy to be back. Happy to be alongside you for the first time here tonight as well. And you've got your eyes on these drivers all season long. Tonight is just going to be another one of those very interesting nights that seem to keep popping up for the Venom Truck Series.
Yeah, and especially with these guys, and I'm looking forward to seeing how they run tonight, especially Nashville, which is one of my favorite tracks. Well, I mean, it's a fast track, especially when it's a concrete track as well. When you compare it to like Dover, the only difference is these are going to be much faster speeds. The cornerings is going to be different on every single corner as well. So you're going to have some drivers being very aggressive at the start, but at the same time, some of these guys are going to start really falling back and trying to play long run here, especially from what we've seen in practice already.
Yeah, certainly. It's a very dynamic track and a very difficult one at that. Speaking of difficult, things have been difficult to navigate for a handful of drivers here thus far this season. So we take a look at the point standings coming into tonight. Of course, it's halfway through the entire season after the checkers drop here this evening. But of course, only 5 races after tonight until we get to the chase. You see the top 10 on the screen right now. It is your 2-time and defending series champion Matt Schlosser for the first time this season on the top of the point standings. Brody Gunter, of course, a multi-time winner this season. Hayden Palumbo rattling off a win. And now, all of a sudden, things have tightened up quite a bit in these final couple of positions. Only 12 to the good for Charlie Widener, 10 to the good for Chris Mackey. Matt Schlosser and now Mike Milfeld below the cut line for the first time in a number of weeks. It's not a very comforting feeling for a lot of the drivers on the right side of this graphic to have things tightening up this much at the go time here, right around that cut line.
Yeah, and especially when we're seeing everything too. I mean, especially after last weekend. I mean, you got Austin Holyfield, he's been one that's been very consistent on finishes right now, and he's right now on the outside looking in. He's 11 points behind both Milfeld Jr. and Matthew Williamson right there behind the cut line, both tied at 10 points each. I mean, I'm looking at some of these other drivers that have been really having decent seasons, and it's just they're out of the cut line because of those stage points. And I know some of these guys, especially Austin Holyfield, he's had really consistent finishes. He's got 205 points on the total for the season, but out of those points, only 6 points have been for stages. Meanwhile, we see a lot of the other guys with Matt Schlosser, Brody Gunther, Hayden Palumbo, all of those guys in double-digit figures. Like some of them are at 30, 40 points in stages, and that's a huge make or break. And I'm hoping for Austin Holyfield, with the consistent finishes he's had at the end of the race, maybe we might see Austin Holyfield actually be able to get some stage points here and get himself back above that cut line.
Austin Holyfield is a fan of the shorter, wonkier tracks. And certainly I could see him busted out for another good run here this evening, coming off of his best finish of the season last week at Gateway. We're high above what Matt Williamson would call Lebanon, Tennessee. It's his home track, and it's a couple of other drivers. Well, I guess not home track, because most of our Tennessee drivers live over in eastern Tennessee, and they'd much rather claim Bristol as their home track. Hopefully everybody's having a good night, as we want to, again, extend our gratitude to our service members and our United States Armed Forces, those who are still with us, and of course, in light of Memorial Day this past Sunday, and rather this Monday, we want to thank and send our gratitude to those who have paid the ultimate sacrifice, so we can continue to do the silly little things that we do here, and like sim racing on a Tuesday night with the Venom Truck Series. You'll see lots of patriotic paint schemes here tonight. You'll also see a lot of Kyle Busch paint schemes here this evening as well. More on that in a moment. Let's get to tonight's starting grid as we roll off for 150 laps around the Court of the King, the Nashville Superspeedway. It is Brody Gunter who will lead the field to the green, truck number 01. He wasn't even sure if he was going to be here tonight, and instead he's now grabbed the Tech Tape Pole Award for the 4th time this season, the 20th of his career, and he's also the most recent winner here at the Nashville Superspeedway last season. Charlie Widener is going to start to his outside, charging Charlie P2. Lucas Carver and Josh Freed. Freed still looking for that first career victory. He's come oh so close so many times. He'll start now from the outside of row number 2. Paul Ellison, Jordan Journeau. He led laps here a couple of seasons ago. Great qualifying effort for the young Canadian in spot number 6. Kyle Zittle's had a great season thus far. He'll line up in 7th to the inside of Chad Stearns, another former winner here at the Nashville Superspeedway. Brantley Gainey and Jan Van Leer, ICR teammates there on row number 5. Great qualifying effort for the 22. Andy Poliski, and it is Jack Watts starting in the 12th spot. Row 7 on the inside, it is Matt Schlosser, the reigning series champion and current points leader. Corey Rutherford to his outside. Zach Lockett and Steve Roman. Then on row number 8, it is Parker Donaldson and John Kay on the 9th row. Behind them, Joshua Matacek way back in the lineup here in 19th. Cliff Douthin will round out your top 20 starters. It is 21 for the 21. Matt Williamson starts on the inside of row number 11 with Tyler Berger to his outside. Austin Hollifield there in 23rd. Rodney Matney to his outside in the 24th spot. Garrett Rainey and Chris Mackey on row number 13. Joshua Rutherford and Hayden Palumbo. Corey Clark and Josh Jackson will make up row number 15. Paul Sargent, Larry Eddy on row 16. Eric Breeding, Gary Clark, Mike Milfeld way back there in the 35th spot with Pascal Simard rounding out your starting lineup here this evening. Important to note, though, that Charlie Widener and Mike Milfeld, the teammates of Highline Racing, both with EOL penalties to serve. So great pit selection for Charlie Widener. He will not have much else to show for it, however, and Mike Milfeld will be towards the head of pit lane.
I'm also noticing, too, Parker Donaldson also getting an EOL penalty as well. So it's already some pretty big names here already having to go to the back of field, especially, and I'm with you there, Charlie Widener, who's had a really great rookie season. He's going to have to really work his way from the back to the front here, especially when he has to, after having a great qualifying time, too, of being there in second with just being just behind Brody Gunther there, only about a 400th of a second difference. So going to be a big work for Charlie Widener, the rookie, trying to get from the back to the front.
We go missing man formation for Kyle Busch. What a shocking, devastating blow this was, not just to the motorsports community as a whole, but I mean the Venom Truck Series group took it particularly hard. I know these drivers are all racing with heavy hearts here this evening, and we go missing man. The front row spot left open here on our second pace lap. I want to throw it over quickly to Tyler before we get things going, and a lot of interesting strategy afoot here tonight at Nashville Superspeedway, like always.
Yeah, I've been watching some of the practice and everything. Fuel window is going to be interesting. It seems like tires are going to be pretty good to make it all the way through as well. Fuel run's going to be between 45 and about 60 to 62 laps, give or take. We've seen some drivers able to make it to 60, but at the same time, I think we're going to have to keep an eye on some of these drivers on how they're going to run these trucks, on whether or not they're going to go flat out the entire time, or if we're going to see some drivers maybe using the clutch button a little bit to save some fuel.
It's all at hand. It's all at their disposal. It's time to go racing for 150 laps around the Nashville Superspeedway. Green flag is out. Gunter and now Josh Freed lead the charge into turn number 1. Lucas Carver tightly in tow behind the 01.
They're having a really good battle there back there with Carver and Jordan Journeau just looking up behind. Nice little side-by-side battle. In the back. Oh, we got a wrecking back.
Problem, and it is
Eric Breeding.
Yes, it is.
In the outside wall there, facing the wrong direction.
Oh, man. I believe representing the U.S. Defense Engineering Corps on the Punisher Graphics number 26 here this evening. The Army Corps of Engineers, rather. But not even to the back straightaway for the entire field, and under our first caution of the evening, and we will take a quick look at it here. As this is Breeding on the bottom, and this truck's just going to get out from underneath of him.
Yeah, and then you just see he tries to corrects it. All of a sudden, the truck grabs the grip, and it snaps see a bye into the outside wall, and that was a heavy hit, too, as well. And Not a good start there for Eric Breeding.
No, certainly not. He will have a lot of damage to fix here, no doubt. But I mean, talk about how easy this is. Lap number one, conditions that these drivers have not practiced in either. How easy is a mistake is this to make?
I would say very easy. I think some of these drivers, depending on how their brake biases are, I think we're going to see some guys having a brake bias further up in the front of the truck, trying to make it more stable in the corner. I think we'll see some other drivers, like especially some of the guys that we see up in the front all the time, like Brody Gunther, Kyle Zittel, Slozier, Palicki. Like some of those guys might have their brake bias further in the rear just to make it like be able to turn in much better. So I'm kind of wondering if that might have been a situation there where he just got on the brakes a little too heavy and maybe had some brakes in the rear and it snipped around on him. But what an amazing I'm trying to think of the right words with these trucks. These trucks are really tight going into the corners, but I think if you could get on the binders in the right spot, get the truck to settle down, you might be able to get these trucks to turn in. But sometimes if you make a mistake like that, like what Eric Breeding did, it could really bite back against you. And these trucks will get loose on you sometimes, especially with how tight these setups are for the fixed setups on these trucks.
Certainly, even with this new aero package that was introduced in the last iRacing season for the trucks, or rather 2 seasons ago in the iRacing world for the trucks, they are looser for longer, but certainly at Nashville Superspeedway, this is a tire grinder. I think it's only a handful of laps before that loose condition goes away, unless you really got your brake bias back at the rear.
Yep.
It will get away from you pretty quickly, or rather, it will tighten up on you pretty quickly. As you saw. Go ahead.
I was going to say too, I would even add in too, we've seen this situation too with this new with this package, that the aero, like the side draft on these trucks as well. I've done some of the fixed races myself, and some of these trucks, if you're on that inside line, you're more susceptible of getting a huge side draft off of the driver to your right side, that it slows up the trucks a lot and it tightens it up instantly too. So we might see some of these trucks getting pushed way up to the high line because they're trying to really side draft on the truck on the bottom. But as soon as you do that, these trucks just get really instant tight on that load line. So that'll be another thing we'll have to keep an eye out for.
High line is usually the no-no zone here. You do not want to get out of the gray, especially as this run goes along. That's where all the marbles are, and that is where your imminent fate is going to be if you get a little too cozy with that outside wall. And, certainly, it feels weird for me to talk about racing at Nashville Superspeedway because I'm terrible at it. One driver that is not certainly is Brody Gunther. He's led them all thus far from the pole. One here back in season number 10 as well. Josh Freed also has a podium here at the Nashville Superspeedway. One of his now 4 runner-up finishes yet to pull into victory lane. Tonight could change that. But we still got a long way to go. I'm showing 151 laps on the board. We're going the extra mile for Rowdy Busch here this evening. We're backing our way, and Gunther, uncontested, hole shot into turn number 1.
Yeah, and that's always been Brody's style too. We see him taking off real quick on the starts. He's probably one of the few drivers that are really great on these restarts, and he just gets out to an instant jump. He's already a half a second jump on Josh Freed. While here we go, Lucas Carver, Jordan Journeau looking 4, or actually look at 3 wide there. Chad Stearns gets a tap there on Lucas Carver, slides up the track a little bit, was able to hang on to it.
Carver good to hang on to that one. You're right. That was quite the shot in a place that you do not want to get it. Right in that left rear corner, absolutely. Right as you're unloading out of the turn as well.
And that's what's the scary part too. I thought he was about to get himself turned off of Jordan Journeau, and then Chad Stearns getting up the track. You could already see just the way some of these guys are taking advantage of that side draft. But man, that was a scary moment there for Chad Stearns as well. I would have hated to be him and accidentally turn Lucas Carver there, who's part of the Alabama gang guys. But Chad Stearns way down on that apron too, trying to catch up to his teammate there, especially with Josh Freed there in the 939 Motorsports entry. But looks like he's able to hang on to it and doing as much as he can. He's still side by side with Jordan Journeau.
We are kickpot cam here with Jack Watts as he watches side-by-side battling in front of him. That's Paul Ellison there to the outside of Jan Van Leer. Jan trying to move forward here. Chad Stearns still battling with Jordan Journeau. Great start to the race for the 84 truck. But it is a 1 second advantage for Rowdy Gunter up at the front of the field with 8 laps on the board.
Already, he's already running a 1/10 of a second faster on lap times right now. Last lap time for Josh Freed, who's in some clean air in a sense, a 30.9 compared to Rowdy Gunter with a 30.8. And it's already, you could just see what he's able to do, and it's just impressive seeing just how much quicker pace Brody has. I'd be curious to see how that truck handles later in the run. As there goes Lucas Carver looking on the inside here, going into turn 1. It's going to be side by side with Josh Freed. Freed is going to use the right rear to be able to side draft it a little bit, and you can just see how quickly Lucas Carver had to check up there, and that's going to be the big key here with that side draft, because Josh Freed was able to defend off of Lucas Carver by just using that right rear side draft as Lucas Carver had the momentum on the other side.
It was kind of like Carver played himself, because I think he missed on purpose the apex of the corner trying to force Freed up high, but you were right. Freed pulling it back with that side draft and able to hold on to the second position. Now Carver going to have to play defense here for the time being with Jordan Journeau right behind him.
Jordan Journeau's realizing what happened. Journeau's going to try to see if he can maybe throw Carver into running the low line. Journeau jumps up to that middle groove, just not able to get any kind of momentum right now. Seems like you got to get some more rubber there on that middle groove. Chad Stearns is going to try to take advantage there on the low line. Stearns just barely getting onto that quarter panel, but Stearns not able to get momentum as of now. It's Jordan Journeau hanging on to that middle groove, and he's actually going to be side by side here with Stearns coming down to turn 3.
Journeau led over 30 laps here in a caution-free race. Ironically enough, that was won by Chad Stearns, the driver who was inside. That was back at season number 9. Go ahead.
And I was going to say, yeah, and you could already see, like, just the knowledge that Jordan Journeau and Chad Stearns they're running really hard. Journeau used some more of that side draft on Stearns, and here goes Paul Ellison going to try to go and take advantage of Stearns, but Stearns is able to get the drive off on that bottom lane. That bottom lane right now has got the grip for the exit, but it's going to be curious to see how much farther these guys can take it. As Journeau goes a high arc from the high side of the track, and he's going to try to get some momentum here on Chad Stearns, but they are still side by side coming to the line, as Stearns is going to be only a quarter panel, and Stearns is going to look at, no, I was going to say he may be looking at trying to fall in line, but Journeau's still holding that middle groove, and Stearns is still fighting hard on that bottom line.
The Stearns and Journeau have them bunched up. I mean, all the way back to Andy Poliski in 11th, up to Jordan Journeau and Chad Stearns as they battle for 4th. I mean, they are pretty much all right here in a pack. As Stearns with the slider makes it work with a kiss of the bumper from Journeau, but Stearns is up to 4th.
Yeah, that was a big move there for Stearns. Stearns knew he had the better tires. I mean, even on that last lap, just there alone, as Jordan Journeau gives a bumper back to Stearns. But Stearns ran 0.3 of a second quicker on just that lap alone, so Stearns knew he had the faster truck. And it was, I think for Stearns, he knew it was time that he needed to get around Journeau and start trying to catch up to these top 3 guys, because they're all already a second ahead of Chad Stearns. The top 3 running away right now.
Jan Van Leer, Matt Schlosser, and Paul Ellison were 3 wide behind Jordan Journeau. Ellison through the middle makes it out of this gaggle. And leaves your defending series champion and Jan Van Leer on the podium last week for the first time this season. They are battling side by side now for spot number 7 as Ellison pulls up to the inside of Journeau.
And it seems like Journeau likes that more middle lane. Not working right now like you're seeing, but you can see that he gets a much better momentum. I'm wondering if Jordan Journeau's trying to do some fuel save here. Oh my goodness, Ellison did not turn late there too, and I'm with you, that was really close. I thought Ellison was about to turn himself there. Jan Van Leer just able to get, or that's Jordan Journeau just able to get the run in. Jan Van Leer just gives Journeau a huge arrow push there on trying to get him in front of Paul Ellison, but it's not able to work. Ellison's still side by side.
Contact behind them between Andy Poliski and I think Kyle Zittel. Zittel gets away. John Kay also got to get through in the 32 of Andy Poliski. You're not missing anything for the lead. Rowdy Gunter with already a 1.5 second advantage. As there's lots of shuffling here just outside of the top 10. Andy Poliski is going through the ringer right now, back to 13th. And they are still scrapping away here, Journeau and Ellison. Jan Van Leer, Matt Schlosser, Jack Watts now into this mix as well.
Yeah, and you can just see this group getting really more and more antsy as these guys are trying to fight. Chad Stearns has now been able to pull almost close to a second gap on Jordan Journeau, but man, these guys are still fighting hard right now. Ellison trying to get the momentum on the outside. It is just not clear enough. And there goes Jan Van Leer just trying to give Jordan Journeau another push again. It is stacking up even further back. I think I saw 3 wide at one point with Joshua Matichek. Oh, we got contact with the 32, and he is hitting the outside wall.
And they are going to stack up more. Clef Douthit. Multiple drivers. That's Brantley Gainey involved there as well.
Oh,
and this is a big stack up here down through the tri-oval.
That was a 22 with Brantley Gainey Jr. getting all sideways from that as well. Thankfully, I think a lot of trucks were able to avoid it, but oh man, that could have been a big one very early on in this race.
We've seen a couple of real goalie washers here at the Nashville Superspeedway, and you're right. I think that was close, but no cigar. Let's take a look. I think this is going to start. You already see the contact. Andy Poliski's left side door is getting used up already here in the last couple of laps, but this is Brantley Gainey now going to be to his outside as we watch on from the chopper cam. Gainey just misses the entry there. Great save. Poliski then into the outside wall. Douthit, Vroman, Gainey, all slipping and sliding down the front stretch, and Douthit nearly right hooked up into traffic once again.
I thought for sure Douthit was going to go flying back up the track. He was doing everything hanging on to that truck too. I thought for sure with the amount of momentum he had, that was going to be really deadly for a few trucks that were still coming through the start-finish line.
Watch from above Brantley Gainey this time, and we'll take one more look at it from the chopper cam and follow Andy Poliski's plight all the way through. As Poliski for sure coming down pit road here.
Yep, and we got some takers. Interesting too. Only 3 takers. Matt Slosher, Kyle Zittel, Clef Douthit, who was involved in that wreck. Charlie Widner also in the pits as well. So interesting pit strategies already for some of the guys in the top. That was up in the top 10, especially defending champ Matt Slosher going into the pits, and Kyle Zittel, who's had a really good run. Got to give another shout out to him right now, having a great run with the PGR Lights organization over there right now, able to secure the regular season championship, and I believe this next coming Monday, he'll be able to go and chase for that potential championship in the PGR Light Series.
I know he's having a blast there on Monday nights, and that confidence honestly has come over to Venom this season. Or rather last season at the end, he was sort of finding it, but to miss the chase cutoff line by just a handful of points. But he has started strong with Venom here in season number 11, and of course, with the PGR 500 as well, the successes that he enjoyed there, I think it's kind of rewired his brain a little bit to maybe get the most out of this truck and keep himself out of trouble at the same time. So you're right, he's having a great season thus far. Multiple nights of action here on PGR eSports.
Yep, agreed. And he's actually, and especially with him, seeing some of the runs that he's had, he's been doing very well. I mean, he'll run some of the Intimidator series as well, but I've noticed he's had some really great runs in the truck, and I think that's honestly right now, that has been his bread and butter, is with these trucks. When I've seen him over running some of the PGR races like the Intimidator series and the PGR Lights. And I agree with you. Like, just watching this season and looking back at some of the past season results and past season stats, this looks to be one of his much better seasons for Kyle Zittel. And I'm just looking at some quick little stats here. His average finish right now is right just a little bit above 12th place, but when you look at what he's been able to do, he's had 5 races where he's been in the finished top 10 or better. He's had 3 in the top 5. He's been close to being able to win as well. I mean, I would not be surprised seeing how well he's done here, and you can just see the momentum in that. So I'm looking forward to see how much more he can take advantage of that momentum, especially with all the other races he's done in other organizations.
And here's a little insider info for you as well. There's of course, the super speedway tracks are really where you see the 53 hit its stride. But Nashville Superspeedway, not really a super speedway, but it doesn't matter to Kyle Zittel. He loves this track. He thinks he's very good at it. And that might explain a little bit of the rolling of the dice on the strategy here, as he and Matt Schlosser give up positions in the top 10 to come in and get fresh tires. Restart here at lap 23. It's Brody Gunter and Josh Freed, still your top two. Lucas Carver and Chad Stearns now on row number 2.
You just see Brody Gunter getting another big jump again, and that being able to be that leader, he is able to jump off really quick, and he is really good on firing off. And you can see it there again as Lucas Carver gets really tight. Freed's able to get way up to the track, able to avoid it, but Lucas Carver's falling positions big time as Ellison is all over the back bumper trying to get Lucas Carver to go. But man, that truck is just really tight on him as he is pushing up George Journeau into the wall, and he taps the wall as well. That truck for Lucas Carver all of a sudden is just falling off the rails big time.
When it rains, it pours, and the 89 in a bit of trouble here, and it could get a little bit worse. The more dirty air that this truck finds itself in, he does not want to get behind the 84 of Jordan Journeau. This field sorts itself out. Brody Gunter's still with a quarter of a second lead. Josh Freed is hanging with him for now. See how long that is the case for.
I kind of wonder if Josh Freed finally decided it's go time, knowing that some of the drivers like Matt Slosier, Kyle Zittel, as well as Charlie Whitner all coming into the pits, looks like I'm looking at the lap times, or the pit times actually. Oh, I heard someone scraping the wall there,
Brody
but
Gunter.
I did notice. Oh, that's Gunter as well, actually. Man, I wonder if Brody really pushed hard on the truck, but I did notice, I'm looking at pit times again real quick. Matt Slosier and Kyle Zittel did take tires. Charlie Whitner only took fuel, and we do have 4 sets of tires available, 4 total sets of tires available for this race. So I'm kind of liking the strategy now. So I'm looking forward to see how much further, how quickly they're going to be able to move up the field. It's Matt Slosier's up to 22nd, Kyle Zittel up to 24th, and they are right now the fastest trucks in the field right now, as they are having to make their way through a huge pack, as George Journeau and Lucas Carver are back again side by side, as they are just getting really close to hitting each other off the wall, and George Journeau's doing everything he can while Carver's trying to mitigate any damage as possible. But we are 2 by 2 by 2, way down into the 20s. Oh my
Ellison
goodness.
and Van Leer with contact there at turn number 2. That nearly turned the 5 truck around. Still banging doors here for spot number 4 as well.
And John Kay, I'm seeing getting really tight there, as he's having a fight with, I believe that is Joshua Matichek there.
Yes, it is.
As well, and John Kay, I believe the 85. I'm trying to see who the 85. Oh, actually, that is Matichek.
Yeah, I think
throwing me off guard
running
with
running the wrong number and running his Thursday night truck, as there's contact between Carver and Journeau. Journeau into the wall, and Ellison around.
Oh, coming back around.
It is an absolute melee down the backstretch. Oh dear. That is an
coming flying back up.
Absolute track blocker, the big one in Nashville Superspeedway. I mean, it might be easier to tell you who's not involved in that.
Yeah, Larry Eddy got a little bit more contact, but Corey Rutherford, that truck is destroyed. I'm seeing on timing that he's got a meatball flag, but he's already that wheel is facing 90 degrees to the right, and I don't think that's natural enough.
No, not quite. I mean, there are some big names involved in this, and this is going to start just with a simple touch of the wall here from Jordan Journeau on the outside. We're going to have to go quarter speed here to try and even pinpoint. I'm a little rusty on these controls, if anybody can't tell. But we'll go quarter speed here. It's already started. Ellison on the bottom of 3 wide. Jan Van Leer in the middle. Journeau on the top side. And I think really what's gonna kick this off is Jordan getting hooked back down into traffic.
Yeah, and you could see too, just further behind earlier as they were getting into 1. Carver gets tight as they get in the middle of 2. Carver continues sliding up, makes contact with Journeau, and then which sends Journeau in the wall, and then you got a 3 wide situation that Ellison was not expecting, and Jan Van Leer just had nowhere to go as well. Or yeah, Jan Van Leer had nowhere to go, and then just calamity ensued afterwards. And man, a lot of good trucks involved in that.
Here's a chopper over Larry Eddy, who's making his first start of the season here tonight. And I mean, he's going to disappear a little bit, but I think he got a love tap there from behind, finds his way into the pile, into Tyler Berger. So I know we've got some activity on pit road, but I think Corey, with the inability to steer, pulls back right up in front of Larry. I think that's pretty excusable. Here's Hayden Palumbo from above. He's going to be right in the thick of this as well, trying to get to the bottom. He's starting to slow down. Then, he gets net-coated, actually, from Matt Williamson.
Yeah.
Williamson turned.
Yeah, just everyone trying to react quickly enough. I don't think there's a lot of... actually,
right
Palumbo got hit twice and then even got hit again by Brantley Gainey there in the left rear quarter panel. So a lot of these trucks are going to be really badly damaged. Corey Rutherford, I did notice as well, his left front suspension's completely broken. So Corey Rutherford done for the night. I think he's just running around to the point where he can just get whatever laps he can get. But
I didn't even the angle I was looking at his VFW number 15. It didn't even look like he had a left front tire. But yeah, that is chattering to say the least. That truck is definitely going to be done.
Yeah, really unfortunate there, especially with how big of a wreck that was. My goodness,
that was huge. That was one of the biggest wrecks of the season, and certainly probably the biggest one not at a super speedway.
I was going to say, honestly, with how big that wreck went, I think that might have ended up surpassing Daytona.
Yeah,
because I don't think we had, if I recall, I don't think we really had a big one like this at Daytona. We might have had a few multi-truck wrecks, but I don't think we had like this big of a wreck that we had. My goodness, that involved a lot of the cars, and also too the pit strategy got interesting too. Top 8 stayed out. Josh Freed, Chad Stearns, John Kay, Bodacek, Clark, Slosier, Jackson, and Charlie Widner, your top 8 staying out on track as green flag's about to be back underway.
And that puts Brody Gunter on the inside of row number 5. First lead change of the night. 39 of Josh Freed. We'll see what he's got at the front of the field here on lap number 32. Stearns and Kay go second and third on the provisional podium positions right now. Joshua Monacek and Schlosser the top 5. Schlosser, remember, just pit under the last caution to get fresh tires.
Yeah, and Schlosser was out of both him and Zittel. Schlosser was the only one able to avoid that wreck as Zittel got caught up in that wreck. So really unfortunate for Zittel being back down in 19. But yeah, Schlosser's going to have fresher tires compared to these guys up front. As there goes Schlosser, big dive move on Joshua Monacek. Schlosser's now up to 4th.
Matt Schlosser running the Kyle Busch tribute on the hood here this evening. First new paint scheme for Schlosser in season number 11. Another Rowdy Busch to the inside there, running the Spire Motorsports. RainyCars.com, John Kay.
John Kay did not hit, but we know what John Kay is able to do, especially after we've seen him practice. Able to run a 60-lap stint, but at the same time, I was looking at lap times. They were falling off big time, though, down into the 32s, but I'm curious to see how that's going to play out. We might see some of these guys that have not pitted yet. I think I would not be surprised if we see some of these guys going maybe as far as lap 65, lap 70 with the way these caution flags have been coming out.
We talked about in the past Matt Schlosser sort of having the golden horseshoe. I was maybe starting to question it a little bit this season, but if there was any sort of doubt about that, it all went away by the fact that he basically just jumped up 15 positions through the biggest crash of the season, didn't get a scratch on him, and now has fresher tires than everybody around him, and he should be able to pick his way to the lead pretty quickly here. And not only that, the drivers he's chasing here are his teammates.
Yep. But I would say this though, don't look too far back. Brody Gunther just making a move now on John Kay, and Brody Gunther took tires there on lap 29 after that big wreck ensued. So Brody Gunther, he's going to give Matt Slosher here some fits if Brody's able to clear John Kay, and Brody Gunther sends it there on the inside, but he is just barely clear enough, and he is going to slide up into 4th as Matt Slosher's now going to try to fight with Chad Stearns again here, his teammate, part of the 939 Motorsports team, and there we go. 939 is sitting 1, 2, and 3, but Brody Gunther's going to get a run here, and he's going to get that run on Stearns. Stearns is giving Slosher a huge push down the backstretch.
From defense to offense, real quick, Stearns trying to help the boss man out. Schlosser and Gunther, your 2 championship protagonists side by side.
Using that side draft right now, trying to do anything he can. You see Freed is just holding that bottom line. Whoa, look at Brody Gunther getting sideways there. There's that dirty air taking to advantage on Brody Gunther, and look at the run that Slosher's going to get now. I wouldn't be surprised if there goes the defense again on Freed, throwing that dirty air on Brody Gunther. Oh my goodness, that car, that truck is just everywhere right now with that dirty air.
Freed trying to give the slipstream down the straightaways to his boss, but Gunther gets the air cut off from him from that nose as they go through the turns. Freed's having a problem here, holding the bottom, and now it's going to put Schlosser on the outside at 3 wide. And it's going to open the door for Gunther to almost get clear for the lead down the backstretch.
Yeah, and you can just see how much that tires take advantage. Brody Gunther's not going to clear it. He's getting tight from that right rear side draft that Slosher did. Coming to the line, Slosher's going to take the point. But man, this is going to get a really fun battle here between both Matt Slosher and Brody Gunther here. Gunther's trying to hold that bottom lane and is not able to clear. He barely clears Slosher there coming out of 2.
Well, Freed and Stearns are certainly on the back foot right now as Brody Gunther resumes the lead. I mean, we're on lap number 40. We've had a handful of caution laps here, but these 2 drivers have not put any fuel. Maybe more importantly, have not bolted on a new set of tires yet to these machines. I mean, what kind of time frame are these 2 looking at? Hopefully, they're hoping for a caution. If we don't get it, what are these 2 looking at right now?
I would say, give or take, the caution laps that we have, we know these guys can be able to save probably about a 2 to 3 laps of fuel during that caution run. Sometimes could really, if they're really hard saving, could get about an extra 4 laps. So I would say, if we get close to I would say give or take between lap 66 to lap 70 is when we're going to see these guys pit. I know they're going to try to save as hard as they can to maybe make it to the halfway point at the end of lap 75 for when those stage points come into effect. But I don't know if they're going to be able to make it though. That's going to be the big what if, because all of these other drivers can easily make it to that halfway point. And when it comes to points, especially for someone like Josh Freed and Chad Stearns and John Kay, those stage points are going to be really big for them if they want to be able to try to continue clawing their way up the field, especially with both John Kay and Josh Freed in that chase right now, and they're trying to be able to build themselves a gap to make sure that they can make it into the chase.
Well, you want to talk about drivers that desperately need points? How about the Rain Man, Garrett Rainey, up into 5th now. Just got through on John Kay. I would imagine fresher tires on this 13 truck. Lucas Carver also follows him through. So Alabama gang right now running 5, 6, 7. But Garrett Rainey has sort of faded in and out of the right side of our points graphic, flirting with the cut line on multiple occasions. He really needs some stage points here. But now he's got his teammate to the inside. Lucas Carver down low.
Yeah, and then side by side their teammates, and that's the other thing I think that's going to be the interesting part here especially for Garrett Rainey. Garrett Rainey coming into this race 14th as Lucas Carver gets tight, and there's 3 teammates all side by side. Stearns got really tight there on exit, but I mean for Garrett Rainey and even actually Chad Stearns sitting 16th in points coming into this. Both of those drivers are going to need a lot of help here if they want to make it into the chase. And for these guys, I mean, man, they're racing hard as teammates. Oh my goodness, for a second there I thought Garrett Rainey was going to go 3 wide on 2 of his teammates.
Not yet, but I wouldn't put it past him at some point.
Man, these guys are going at it. And you can see there that Josh Freed's starting to struggle a little bit there on tires. I wonder if he burned up his tires too early. Josh Freed, though, getting a little tired. Actually, yeah, Josh Freed's also on old tires. Lucas Carver's going to try to make a move. And actually, Lucas Carver's on fresh set of tires, pitted on lap 29. He was one of those drivers that pitted with new tires. So Lucas Carver trying to work on getting more points right now. Throughout the season, he's had 30 stage points already, and definitely on his way to potentially getting even more stage points to help him out here, sitting fourth going into this race. Freed gets a little bit of a tap the wall.
Yeah, Lucas Carver coming off of his worst season with the Venom Truck Series since he grabbed his first career victory back in season number 7. And you can tell that he is very motivated, having a good season thus far. Has not got back to victory lane, but certainly the finishes have been there, and to your point, the stage points have been there as well. And that is what's keeping a lot of drivers with below average finishes in the hunt. Not saying Lucas Carver is one of those drivers. But, certainly there are a couple of them on our points graphic that have not quite got the finishes, but they've got a lot of stage points.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I can definitely give some good examples. I mean, we've seen some wild scenarios happen where, especially like with Paul Ellison. I know Paul Ellison's working a part-time schedule. He's still sitting 19th in points, even as a part-time schedule runner, and he's gotten 21 stage points. And someone like RJ Starchevic, who is doing well, I don't think he's here tonight though. But I mean, someone like him, he's had the worst start to the season, and I believe after his last wreck he had last week, he kind of was like, I'm going to switch over to part-time for a little bit. But I mean, it still amazes me with some of the races that both Brody Gunther and Hayden Palumbo have had, where they've had the stage points, but they haven't had the greatest of finishes either. And it's just able to keep them up there enough to where they're able to hang on. And seeing side by side again now, Garrett Rainey trying to make an inside move on his teammate. Oh my goodness! And he is tapping Stearns. Stearns able to hang on to it. Man, that guy really buried there.
I'm gonna say, knowing Garrett, that may have been on purpose, because he and Stearns were not seeing eye to eye there. Stearns now in a fight with John Kay. This one might be pretty decisive. How about Mike Milfeld? Remember, had the OL penalty to start the night. He's the hard charger right now, plus 27, where he took the green flag earlier.
Great run for him, and that I think is going to help him too. He is the first, tied with Matt Williamson. He is the first driver out of the chase, so this is like the perfect opportunity for Milfeld to get some stage points here as we're working lap 151. We're still about 25 or 24 laps away from the stage payout, but Milfeld getting a really great run here on Stearns, who's on older tires too. But this is going to be a really great run for Milfeld Jr. Just even getting up to sixth or even fifth place. That's 4 or 5 more bonus stage points that Milfeld probably wouldn't have been able to get if he was still stuck in the back there from the EOL, if we didn't have some of those early wrecks.
We saw Garrett Rainey working over Josh Freed, trying to challenge for the 4th position. In the back of the shot, we turn our attention to Matt Schlosser. Having to play defense now as Lucas Carver's done a nice job on slightly fresher tires to reel in the 04. And he is just a couple of feet behind and having to work a little bit different line to try and get around the 04. As he's got the aero brakes on down low. Meanwhile, Brody Gunther into some lap traffic as well. Go ahead.
Ooh, that's going to be interesting as well. And Lucas Carver's got 9 lap fresher tires than Matt Slosher. And Carver just makes easy work of Matt Slosher there real quick. I'm wondering if Slosher's going to try to save a little bit of fuel behind Carver and see if maybe Carver can get them back up there. But yeah, Brody Gunther making quick work of the lap car. And Brody Gunther is up to a 3-second gap on Lucas Carver and Matt Slosher right off the bat. But Brody Gunther is starting to catch up to some lap traffic here, so that's going to start playing into factor here as soon as he catches up to some lap traffic. And I believe first car he is going to catch up to is going to be Tyler Berger, and then Clef Dalfit not too far behind him.
So 3 cautions thus far and sort of some medium runs as Chad Stearns is now going back through Garrett Rainey. I'm wondering if Rainey either caught the wall or used his stuff up pretty quickly, as now Rainey is under fire from Mike Milfeld. Milfelt now boxed out. He's trying to get around Rainey, but he's got Stearns still kind of throwing a parachute in front of him as well. And,
I wouldn't be surprised.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I wouldn't be surprised there seeing how that is. And Milfelt actually gets a really great run there on that high side, but just gets loose as Stearns slides up the track there to use a little bit of that dirty air. Milfelt Jr. is trying to get that run, but at the same time, he's also having to deal with Garrett Rainey, and Garrett Rainey's also one of those trucks on fresher tires, but that middle groove has been really working a lot better than what I think we were expecting there a little bit, with how we were expecting the bottom lane to be really dominant, but this middle groove has been really working now, especially with, I think we're now getting some rubber on the more rubber on the track, and that middle groove has actually got a lot more speed now.
I want to give a call to Parker Donaldson. He's into the top 10 now. He was one of the drivers involved in that accident that brought out our most recent caution. He's into the top 10. Charlie Widener now back to the 10th spot, as that is Eric Breeding slow on the top side of the track, staying as out of the way as you possibly can here at the Nashville Superspeedway. It all bottles up out of the turn. But Breeding doing a nice job. And Chad Stearns as well on the older tires, still fighting hard, and he's come away with 4th against all odds.
Really impressive too, especially with how hard they're fighting. It's got me really curious. We're working lap 58. How much longer can Chad Stearns go? Same with the likes of Josh Freed, John Kay. Matichek's down to 11th right now. I mean, I'm curious to see when these guys are going to decide to pit here, because we're getting to that point. That fuel is really going away on those trucks. So I'd be curious to see when they decide to pit, because I don't know if they're going to make it to lap 75, to the end of lap 75, to get those stage points.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough stretch, honestly. We're talking about maybe around 60 laps if you minded your P's and Q's, even with an extra couple of caution laps in there. That's tough.
But Corey Clark is in the pits. Yep. And he was one of those drivers that stayed out, that had not pitted at all this race. I believe Lucas Carver, I heard someone over the radio calling out they were going to go in the pits, but I don't know who it was. So we might be starting to see some pit strategies here soon with some of these drivers that stayed out, that have not pitted at all this entire race.
That would be interesting if it was Carver, because he's on the front foot right now trying to reel in the race leader, Brody Gunter. Josh Freed has dropped a handful of positions in the last couple of laps. He's one of those drivers we're expecting to make a stop here rather quickly. And he's down at the bottom of the track right now. We'll see if he's coming in. Does not look like it.
And he's fighting with John Kay right now, and John Kay is also in that same strategy situation, not on old tires, on the tire and fuel from the start of the race. So curious to see how both of these drivers are going to run. John Kay running a little bit higher groove, able to get slight little run advantage there, but nothing really happening between both. Kay's going to come back down on Freed, and it's going to be able to hang on to that one extra position there for a bit. But this is going to be really interesting here to see how the scenario plays out. These guys are still going at it.
Launching on board the NOCO Chevy Silverado, number 74, Parker Donaldson. He has reeled these two in a hurry as they continue to scrap away. Mike Milfelt and Chad Stearns side by side just up the road in front of them. As again, Milfelt on much fresher tires, but Chad Stearns is Chad Stearns. You mentioned it on the broadcast last week at Gateway. He is great with long run pace and tire management, as Tyler Berger and Josh Jackson are down pit road. And he is balling out right now on some of the oldest tires on the track. He is yet to bolt on 4 fresh Dr. Feelgoods. And that has got to be feeling miserable right now.
I was going to say, that's got to be feeling miserable, feeling how tight the truck is, like just feeling everything falling off on the truck when it comes to the tires. But he is making do with it, and Milfelt just able to take advantage of the fresh tires there, just jamming on the throttle hard to get around Stearns. And Stearns now down to 5th, but I'm very curious to see how this is playing out. Stearns is going to look on the inside here, trying to get a run at Milfelt. And I mean, I'm wondering what Stearns has done here, because, man, I'm saying it again, like how you were even saying what I talked about last week with Gateway. Stearns impressed me with how he's able to manage fuel runs, even as he just gets a little tight there.
He's
Here we go, coming into the pits now.
Yep.
Sliding up the track, and he is going to save it, barely.
Man.
No speeding penalty, no unsafe entry for Chad Serthwell. Whew, man.
Yeah, that first white line did not mean anything. He made the commitment line with the yellow cone, so he should be good.
Yep, and this is going to get really interesting to see how this plays out. So that means we got John Kay. Josh Freed is just calling out, saying he is coming to the pits. So another driver, John Kay, going to see how long he goes. But Josh Freed calling out, he is going to come into the pits, and he is going to make it in. Joshua Matichek coming into the pits as well now.
Boy,
So
great entry for Matichek.
Yeah, and the only other truck that is still left that has been on the same tires and fuel since the start of the race is John Kay. And he's up to 6th as of right now, so I'm curious on when he does decide to pit. And actually, just now as I say it, he calls out that he is coming into the pits. So John Kay, your last driver that stayed out for the since the start of this race, is now coming into the pits.
So Kay gives up a spot inside the top 10. Will come down and get service for the first time this evening. Green flag pit stops starting on lap number 65 with Chad Stearns. As here you see Brody Gunter with now some lap traffic that is trying to unlap itself. Here's Josh Jackson on much fresher tires, rather.
Yep.
And
he was one of the first ones to pit too back on lap 61, and he was one of those drivers that stayed out that since the start of the run. So that's going to be an interesting one there to see how quickly they can get back up to Brody Gunter. And you look at it now too, 30 lap tire difference as well, almost 35 lap tire difference. So curious to see how these guys are going to do now, especially with these newer tires going to start going up against likes of Brody Gunter, Lucas Carver, some of these guys that pitted back when we had that big calamity wreck on lap 27.
I don't think it's necessarily a hot take to say the only reason Brody Gunter has not really contended for a Venom Truck Series championship yet is because he's got real-life racing obligations. He posted in the Venom Discord earlier today and said, boy, I sure would like to race here tonight, considering I won here last season, but I'm not even in state right now, getting fitted for a late model. He obviously made it home. This isn't one of those scenarios where you kind of get somebody to pinch hit for you. This is Brody for sure, 100%. I mean, how do you replace the driver that's won the most in the Venom Truck Series with a ringer? Brody Gunter is the ringer.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and I've had a chance, and hilariously enough, I don't know if I know people that have been watching this consistently have seen where we've, like myself included, have talked about Brody Gunter a lot, just because of some of this real life racing. And he's actually, I'll say this, especially with you, Tommy, like he's raced up against I feel like some of the greatest pro late model guys we've seen in the state of Florida. And I'm looking forward to seeing him when he does run. It looks like he's going to be running the pro late models for the Cars Tour at North Wilkesboro, from what it seems like. But he's run against some drivers, and he almost won the pro late models in our prelude to the Cup at New Smyrna Speedway, beating the likes of our multi-time track champion of Brad May, who has won everything you can think of there at New Smyrna Speedway. And also another driver that was competing in that race as well, Jade Avedizian. He was able to beat her, as well as that year's track champion of Jason Vale. He's also has done really well, and I know he was trying to be able to make it into the World Series of Asphalt, but just was not able to get the funding for it. But Brody Gunter, I feel like he is one of those drivers that if he's able to get the funding, we might be seeing him kind of almost having the opportunities of what we're seeing with like the likes of Steven Nazi, as well as some of these other up-and-coming young drivers that have really started to making a name for themselves. And I can't wait to watch him race. If they can get everything worked out fully for him for that Cars Tour Pro Late Model race at North Wilkesboro, I can't wait to watch him race.
Yeah, certainly that is going to be a blast. We'll keep an eye on Gunter. He has started to extend his lead now on Lucas Carver, as I'm showing Rodney Matney just jumped to the pits. We're still green. Try and track down what happened there. In the meantime, Parker Donaldson catching up to Garrett Rainey. Rainey's sort of ebbing and flowing here. Was on the front foot, then the back foot, and now just kind of logging laps here. As I think Hayden Palumbo just cracked the wall exceptionally hard in turn number 4 from the back of the shop there.
And that's never fun. And also I double checked with Ronnie Manny. That was the pit stop for Ronnie Manny. And so he's going to be pitting now on lap 72. I think some of these drivers that pitted back on lap 20 are now going to try to take some opportunities and try to get the fresher tires here on the track, as Palumbo makes a 3-wide move, and he is just dirt tracking it up to the top as we're, oh my goodness, almost 4 wide there with Josh Freed. Still 3 wide with Charlie Whitner. Hayden Palumbo, Josh Freed, 3 wide coming to the line. And I think that gave the 21 a heart attack there, because I don't think he realized that they were 4 wide as Hayden Palumbo about nearly gets turned by Charlie Whitner there, as Whitner was just ever so tight and could not make the turn.
Palumbo, another bounce off the wall, down the straightaway, down into Widener just about. And you're right, I'm sure. I want to see the whoop band on Mr. Matt Williamson's heart rate right now. He's got to be loving it, I guess.
Me, if I was in that situation, I mean, I could tell you this. I run 4 cylinders for a living over at New Smyrna Speedway myself. The other weekend, probably like 2 weekends ago, I got into a 4-wide situation myself.
Oh boy!
I could tell you that. I could tell you this. I could feel my heart wanting to literally explode out of my chest, because I had a huge panic attack, thinking, "Oh God, don't make any mistakes, otherwise we're gonna have a massive wreck." And I kind of feel from that, because even though this is sim racing, but that could have been really. Just being in a 4-wide situation is never a fun situation to begin with.
I want to give a call, and we'll keep these two in the shot, as well as Matt Schlosser also going to try and make his way through on. Is this Matt Schlosser? Actually, I'm not sure who that is in the back of the shot here. Regardless, Matt Williamson, of course, this is, Parker Donaldson actually going to come to pit road here on lap number 78.
He was one of those drivers that pitted on lap 20, so we're starting to see right around that 55 lap window as well, because we're working lap 77 going to lap 78, so we're getting in that window now. Some of these drivers are going to start deciding when to come into the pit, because that fuel window was between 45 laps and as much as 60 laps. So I think we're starting to get in that green flag window for all these drivers that pitted back on lap 20 and lap 29, as I'm hearing now Matt Williamson calling out that he's coming into the pits.
And while we've got Williamson here, tonight is officially the tribute to the troops, and we got a lot of Kyle Busch paint schemes on the track. Kyle Busch night is next week in the Night of All-Stars for the Venom Truck Series. You can see that here on PGR eSports. But Matt Williamson running the Doc Hawk tribute car. And this is a Specialist 5. Jay, oh gosh, and I forgot his last name. I painted this truck earlier as well. Matt was super excited. We've got Doc Hawk on the truck lid as well. So very cool stuff. Williamson at his former home track. This is the first time I've ever called a Matt Williamson points race, as he and I are teammates. For anybody that doesn't know, we went to high school together, so that's why we are teammates.
Oh, awesome.
That
is awesome.
Williamson
pitting. I was say that's awesome for Team 199. Oh, my bad. I was going to say that's awesome there for Team 199 for you guys. That's a really awesome kind of thing there for being high school friends, and now you guys are teammates and working together as much as you can. It's Matt Schlosser coming into the pits now.
Here's Matt Schlosser now down pit road. Still not sure who that was that I saw that was creeping up on them. But regardless, Schlosser in the shadow of the pit road here, and they all blacked out number 04 Rowdy Busch tribute. Schlosser going to hit his box here. This is why we like Nashville Superspeedway. Schlosser slides his box with 3 cautions at very weird times to start this race. Now a long green flag run, easily the longest of the night. Strategy is all over the place, and who knows who's going to come out on top. Brody Gunter, multiple times this season, has had dominant runs like this, led the most laps, led a lot of laps, and has come away with bupkis. And I'm sure in the back of his mind, he, despite the 3 wins this season, he's like, oh, this can't be happening again. Who knows where you're going to shake out right now?
Yeah, and we've seen it time and time again. Like Brody would have like a huge gap like this. I mean, he's got a huge gap right now over Lucas Carver, a 4-second gap. But we've seen time and time again that something has happened somewhere else in the field, and we have a late race caution that just throws everything up in the air. And it's just really unfortunate for Brody. I mean, Brody could be running away fully with the regular season points had it not been for some really unfortunate late race cautions that have gone the wrong direction for him.
Oh my goodness, look at this pack. Drivers on old tires, drivers on fresh tires. And they're in the wrong order. Palumbo going backwards.
Zittle's on 3 wide on him and able to make it through. Zittle taps the wall a little bit. That's Brent Negati Jr. that was got around. Ellison looking on the inside of Hayden Palumbo now as well. Palumbo, these tires are really going away, but oh my goodness, Matt Slosher. I have not seen that kind of move in a while. And my goodness, that just gave me some. I'm gonna have to really look back at some of the season. That just gave me like the defending championship vibe there, as Hayden Palumbo's like, I am done with this, and he is in the pits along with Charlie Whitner.
Yeah, I would have been done with that a couple of laps before. Charging Charlie is in. Hayden Palumbo leads him down. So remember, Widener qualified second, but had an EOL penalty with his teammate Mike Milfeld. So they got to start all the way at the back of this field. So Charging Charlie not going to be shown as the hard charger here tonight, but trust me, he's had to pass a lot of trucks to find his way sort of into the mix here this evening. And again, we don't really know how things are going to shake out right now. All we can tell you is that Brody Gunter has a 3.5-second lead over Lucas Carver. But
and
we know the drivers that are fast, if nothing else.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm just looking at the live timing. Matt Slosher, oh my goodness, he just ran the fastest lap of the race at a 30.78. So Matt Slosher right now flying through this field. Paul Sargent now in the pits. I believe we've got the top 12 have yet to pit, as Paul Sargent's now in the pits in his pit box. But man, this is getting wild, especially seeing how hard Matt Slosher's running. And my goodness, this is impressive run already for Matt Slosher. And man, he is a man on a mission right now.
First time I've got to be in the booth here this year, so I want to give a shout out to Cole Maxwell, who's not in the field. This is the first race he's missed this season, having some medical issues here tonight. So hopefully he is doing okay, and we can see him back for the Night of All-Stars next week. And since we've got Paul Sargent in the pits just a moment ago, shout out to Kevin Sargent as well.
We hope Cole Maxwell's doing good as well, especially health situations are never fun, especially with everything that we've seen in the last few weeks with everything that happened with, unfortunately, with Kyle Busch. And it definitely gets you on a lot of minds of knowing, like, it's wild sometimes with the way health histories can be. So it's all, especially now, where it's best to definitely take care of your health 110%, because sometimes it's scary. You never know when something that as simple as what we thought was something simple ended up being something really big.
Yeah, certainly. That was not a fun Thursday for anybody. That was the last thing anybody expected. And you see the love and the outpouring of support for the entire Busch family out here on the track here tonight at the Nashville Superspeedway. And, somebody will be smashing a virtual guitar, I'm sure, at the end of the night in honor of Rowdy Busch. So you'll see more Kyle Busch paint schemes on track next week at Dover for the Night of All-Stars, the KFB All-Star Memorial Race next Tuesday night. It's always the week after the completion of the halfway race of the season. I will be happy to make my return next Tuesday night to the track, and we'll try and finish out the rest of the season strong. Here comes Lucas Carver from second.
Yep, Carver coming in, Garrett Rady right behind him. A lot of people coming in the pits. Jan Van Leer, Michael Milfeld also in the pits. He is actually coming out of the pits as well. That brings Kyle Zittle up to second, Paul Ellison in third. So right now you got Alabama gang 2, 3, 4, and 5, and as Vrooman now takes over, while Garrett Rady and Carver are both sitting in the pits. Brody Gunther coming into the pits now, your leader.
Gunter, he's in, pretty conservative entry, and that makes a lot of sense. He had a big old lead. No reason to jeopardize it on pit road entry.
And Kyle Zittle just called out as well. Kyle Zittle coming into the pits. Paul Ellison now still going long. and we're working lap 92 now. Ellison not able to get the lead, to lead the lap there, but Ellison now, he is right now still running, and Joshua Rutherford has a tire blowout, and he's hollering on the radio saying he is coming into the pits. Do not run me over. So safe bet that right front tire is completely gone on the 64 Joshua Rutherford.
Yeah, it's something that I think a lot of casuals who don't actually use the iRacing service don't think about, but you never see flat tires in iRacing. But there is one exception. When the tread on the tire literally hits 0% according to the code of the game, that is a flat tire. And certainly Nashville Superspeedway and a couple of the other concrete short tracks are the places where you are going to see that.
Yeah, and I can definitely say this, as Paul Ellison calling out his pit really late as well, but this is like as long as Paul Ellison can go, as he is sideways coming into the pits, but he is going to make it in clean. But man, that's the one thing I've had that situation happen to me before, and it is not fun. I can't say this though. I'm glad they don't have the actual effects of a tire blowout, because I can tell you this: I would have been scared half to death all of a sudden trying to go into a corner, hearing a tire pop, and knowing that you have no chance of saving it.
Yep.
So that's the one good thing I'm glad iRacing has not done to us yet.
Well, I know this is your guys' first season. As you see Steve Roman on the bottom of the track, he'll be coming to pit road this time. Looks like he's bringing Andy Poliski, his Brook Guy Racing teammate, with him. Here's one to tuck in the back pocket as you continue to learn more about the drivers here. Always a safe bet to assume Steve Roman is going to be the driver to complete the green flag pit cycle. He is Mr. Overcut, and it has worked for him before. I think maybe a little bit too deep in the running order after being caught up in a couple of accidents here tonight to really make a lot of noise. But certainly it's not going to stop him from trying.
That's good to know that he's kind of got my driving style. Run it all the way until the fuel is empty, or has to pit for tires. So it's good to know on that aspect now that he is definitely the Mr. Overcut when it comes to that. So Steve Roman now coming out. I know he's going to be a few laps down, but he can easily make that back, as right now the first set of drivers that are on the early pit strategy right now is John Kay, Chad Stearns, Josh Fried, and Joshua Matichek. All of those drivers pitting from the range of laps 64, 65, and 66. So those are going to be the next drivers that we'll see to start that next little stint of green flag runs there. And I have to admit, I kind of like Steve Roman's strategy a little bit there with Mr. Overcut. If he could time this just right, I mean, in actuality,
he might have a shot at making it to the end here.
Yeah, think about it. He might be able to make it, stretch it to the end. He's right behind Matt Slozier now, the defending champ from season 10. But if he can get around him and just run and just cruise around for a bit, Slozier's working lap 97 now. Roman pitted on lap 94. 60 lap fuel run gets you right to 150, gets you right around 151. So money stops are going to be underway in a sense for a lot of people, and that's, to me, it's kind of funny. I think we could technically, like you said, with Roman having the Mr. Overcut, but he might have been the one that technically start the money stop at this point, seeing how long Ruman was able to go. So we might have to keep an eye on Steve Ruman here in 25th position.
So things still in flux here, closing in on 50 laps to go. Another round of green flag pit stops will be beginning shortly, as Jack Watts actually now going to pit from the 11th position here on lap 99. Let's give a quick run through the field here. It is John Kay with the race lead right now. It is Chad Stearns in second. Josh Fried runs in the third position. Joshua Matichek is closing in on him quickly. Matichek in fourth. Matt Schlosser right now in the fifth position, but he has got a handful of Brody Gunter, a mirrorful rather, if the 0-1, as Gunter on much fresher tires got to challenge Schlosser to get back into the top five. We'll stay with this battle for the moment and tell you that Parker Donaldson having a great run after a good run at Gateway last week. He runs in seventh. Lucas Carver is in eighth. Rodney Matney and Matt Williamson right now rounds out the top 10. Chris Mackey is in 11th, as this is actually Mackey challenging Williamson to get into the top 10. Charlie Widener In 12th, Mike Milfield, his teammate right behind him. At 13th, Hayden Palumbo. Garrett Rainey, your top 15. First race of the season for Larry Eddy. He's in 16th. Kyle Zittel is back to 17th. Zach Lockett, Jan Van Leer, and Josh Jackson, your top 20. 35 drivers started this race here tonight, and I believe we've got 33 of them running. Eric Breeding and Corey Rutherford are not logging laps at the moment.
Yep, and Jordan Journeau, I noticed too, is sitting in pit road, so I'm wondering if something happened to Jordan Journeau there in 32nd. Another unfortunate night, but he is still sitting in the pit box. I don't see any damage, so I'm wondering if something might have happened, that he had to pull off track or something. So hopefully everything's all right there for Jordan Journeau, who now falls down to 33rd after Eddie Palicki gets around him on track.
Yeah, Journeau had such a promising start to the night, was battling inside the top 5, and then got involved in what ended up being the big one. And claimed the panels of quite a number of drivers. And really set this very strange set of circumstances in motion to close out this race. This field is all sorts of topsy-turvy. But things looking up Brody Gunter right now as he's tracking down Josh Freed on much fresher tires.
And much fresher tires indeed, and I'm actually kind of curious. We've seen how some of these guys are able to make it the 60 laps. I wonder if Brody's pushing super hard right now, or if he's trying to save to make it to the end, because we did talk about how the maximum fuel window is 60 laps. I mean, we did see some guys going a little longer. Brody Gunther pitted on lap 91, and Lucas Carver pitted on lap 90. So I'm kind of wondering if those are going to be like the first two drivers that if they run their cards right and run the trucks right and not push too hard and try to save some tire and save some fuel, I wonder if they're going to try to push it all the way to the end, to the point that they're going to be sputtering, because I think a lot of these other guys, I don't think are going to make it. Maybe Milfelt Jr., who's in 12th, who pitted on lap 89, but that's got me kind of curious now, the way this strategy has been running so far. Walking now, Brody Gunther, not, and that's the other thing I just noticed. See, Brody Gunther's not being aggressive as the 32 is, I believe, is, I'm trying to see who the 32 is. I believe that is,
that's Andy Blees. Yeah.
Andy Blees.
He's 5 laps now. And is pulling Gunter along. Those two have a storied history, to say the least. And, Chad Stearns no match for Brody Gunter this time around. Stearns going to continue to sort of race his race here.
I'm gonna be, yeah, this is gonna be real interesting. And the way this is going, man, I know Ellison talked about something about regarding tires worn out. Oh, and he was talking to Zach Lockett there, and Zach Lockett saying that, yeah, they got some damage. He's kind of hoping that a caution potentially comes out. But man, the way this is going right now, man, impressive. As there goes Brody Gunther getting around John Kay, because John Kay is going to be due to pit here in another 10 to 15 laps, give or take, as he pitted back on lap 66, and we're working lap 107 right now, coming to lap 108.
So Brody Gunter is back into the lead now. Going to try and set sail. Really the closest driver to him on about the same strategy, I believe, is Matt Schlosser back in 6th. And Schlosser, as they run on the track, about 4 seconds behind Brody Gunter. Not too dissimilar to where they were running when this pit cycle started. Lucas Carver, I guess, also kind of on the same strategy, but Carver pit before Schlosser and Gunter, if I'm not mistaken.
Actually, no, it's reversed. It is actually reversed. Lucas Carver pitted on lap 90. Matt Schlosser pitted on lap 80. So I don't know if I don't think Matt's going to be able to make it. I think Matt's going to have to do a splash and dash. Right now, from what I'm looking on the timing here, when drivers come into the pits, I would say, based on how we've seen some of these fuel runs, I would say if the drivers that are able to make it to lap 60 are good to go. So I feel like are going to be good to go if they can save it and run it the way they need to run it. Which those drivers that pitted with just under 60 to go is Brody Gunther, Lucas Carver pitting on lap 90. Michael Milfeld Jr., we've seen him able to run. He could potentially make it, but he pitted on lap 89. Next person afterwards is way down in 14th of Garrett Rainey, who pitted on lap 90, and then you got Kyle Zittel pitted on lap 91, Paul Ellison on lap 93, and then most of the other trucks further down, like Steve Fruman pitting on lap 94, Gary Clark, as well as Chad Stearns is now in the pits for his money stop.
Stearns down pit road. You just saw him give up a spot to Lucas Carver. Carver's lap times kind of close to Brody Gunther, but Gunther's still the fastest driver on track right now. But Carver in and out of traffic. We'll see once he gets some clean track ahead of him if he's able to keep up with Brody Gunther and make some time up. Zach Lockett also down pit road. You were just talking about maybe him having some damage as well. He follows his 939 Motorsports teammates into the pits here on lap 112. Here comes Josh Freed, also another 939 Motorsports driver, Joshua Monacek from Team 199 down as well.
Yep, this is going to get really interesting now when it comes to this long run and seeing how, I mean, really impressive with how well this race has gone too. So we'll see how these guys are going to run as I'm keeping an eye on now. Brody Gunther coming out of 4. So these guys are going to be falling a lap behind the likes of Brody Gunther and Lucas Carver. Big question to me is, how quickly and how hard are they going to be pushing these tires to both get around Brody Gunther as well as potentially running faster lap times than Brody Gunther? Because Brody Gunther is going to be running about 32-second lap times while these guys are going to be pushing super aggressive trying to run 30-second lap times. How quickly can they make that up?
John Kay on and off pit road. Here's Rodney Matney down pit road now as well. As Brody Gunther into some lap traffic. Again, still being kind of towed along here by Andy Poliski.
I'm still impressed. I kind of wonder now if this was set up here by Brody Gunther, and I believe Andy Poliski is, are they teammates if I recall?
Not anymore. They are not teammates, and in fact, they are about as close to rivals as you can get here in the Venom Truck Series. I think they both kind of play into it sometimes, but they've had some actual dust-ups before that have had some unpleasantries exchanged. Of course, Poliski 5 laps down to this point. I don't think he's going to do anything to mess up Gunther's race, so he's towing him along.
No. I think this is kind of helping Brody Gunther in all honesty now. Lucas Carver down to 32.2s. But yeah, I think Brody can really just lift and coast a little bit here, just running behind Andy Policki, and it's kind of impressive seeing what's all going on here as we get more pit stops coming. Chris Mackey, Larry Eddy in the pits, and Matt Slosier in the pits now. Money stop for Matt Slosier.
Schlosser trying to rally himself back into this race, pits from 3rd. Trying to gain up any ground that he can on Gunther and Carver. Stormed away with the top 2 spots.
Brody Gunther has lapped all the way up to Gary Clark Jr. in 14th. Steve Fruman's the next car to potentially get lapped, as Matt Slosher's now going to be a lap down. So the top 12 all right now in the lead lap, but Steve Fruman is not too far away from Brody Gunther. As there goes the number 4 truck of Larry Eddy getting around Brody Gunther now, as I think Brody Gunther is doing everything he can to fuel save now. Parker Donaldson in the pits. So a lot of these drivers that could not make it to the end are coming into the pits now.
Donaldson down pit road for his final stop of the night, looking for another top 10 finish. We talked about maybe Lucas Carver being able to keep up with Brody Gunther. That is not the case. Since we checked in about 3 or 4 laps ago, that gap has ballooned up by an extra 3 seconds. As Matt Williamson going to give up a spot in the top 10 for his final stop.
That's bringing a lot of other drivers up too, and the drivers we're seeing now, Josh Jackson calling out the pits. He's already a lap down though, but the only driver still on the lead lap that are potentially going to have to pit is going to be Charlie Widner as well as Hayden Colombo, who both pitted on lap 84. Big question is going to be, can Michael Milfeld Jr. as well as Jan Van Leer, can they be able to save enough fuel to make it to the end, especially on the lead lap still?
a tall task. I'm sure they are up for the challenge, especially Jan. Jan's got nothing to lose. Not running for points this season. He's in the midst of a coast-to-coast move from California to North Carolina, so he's missed a couple of races for the Ironman of the Venom Truck Series. That's unheard of. But he's got nothing to lose. He's not in it for the chase this season. You might as well give it a shot.
I have to give a shout out again to Steve Ruman. Steve Ruman's actually running same consistent lap times as Brody Gunther, and he is staying on the lead lap. So actually, if Ruman keeps this up, Ruman might be able to get himself some more positions here on some of these other guys that would have to pit if they end up running out of fuel. So definitely a shout out there to Mr. Overcut with Steve Ruman, and I'm impressed with how well he's doing. I don't know how long he's going to be able to hold on, because Brody Gunther's only running, looks like he's running about actually, no. Looking at most recent lap times, Brody Gunther's actually running the same lap times as Ruman. So Ruman's going to be able to, might be able to more than likely stay in the lead lap here and maybe even get some more positions off some of these drivers, as he is actually closing in on Jan Van Leer and Paul Ellison. So really great, and I think this might be, I'm trying not to jinx him. If something happens to Ruman, I am going to be completely 100% apologetic to Ruman on jinxing him. But I believe this might be, like, as of right now, one of his best finishes. Ooh, we got someone slow on the apron.
And I'm trying to find him on my running order here, and I cannot. Yeah, it is Josh Jackson. We are still green, but he did just have an issue. Now, remember, he was just on pit road, so maybe an issue with cold tires here, or some kind of a closing rate accident. Let's take a quick look at it.
Oh, he's got some damage on the right front. Let me see here. Oh, he blinked out for a bit, too.
I was going to say, I don't even see what happened there, so he had some kind of a connectivity issue.
Yep, and then he comes back and reappears, and that right front is completely torn up now, and that's a unfortunate break there. Those are never fun when you have situations like that.
Brody Gunther is cutting his horse loose as he's going to get underneath of Andy Poliski and put Poliski yet another lap down. Thank you for your service, and I'm going to lap you now.
Yep, Hayden Palumbo comes into the pits now, so Hayden Palumbo, one of those drivers on lap 80 that pitted on lap 84, coming in. Charlie Whitner still out there right now, as Austin Holyfield's on the radio saying that he's going to be coming in and pitting as well.
Holyfield, another driver that needs this to shake out in a good way. He is going to push it onto pit road. Holyfield was awfully close to the chase last season. He's just about as close again this season. Having a decent night.
Yep, and Holyfield being 11 points out from the chase, but I don't know. I have to look back to see where he finished at on the stage points, but one of those consistent finishes that Austin Holyfield has, but just does not have the stage points to back it up. So hopefully maybe we'll see how much more positions he can gain back from this long run, but as of right now, this way this long run's been playing out for him, he's going to need to have a lot of things happen to help him out here.
Kyle Zittel closing in on Garrett Rainey. This will be the battle for fifth.
These two drivers are both ones that can make it to the end. Rainey pitting on lap 90, Zittel on lap 91. Looks like, though, Zittel might have been able to save tires a little bit longer. As you can see there, the 10 of Austin Holyfield coming out of the pits. So Holyfield might end up making this a little bit interesting here on Garrett Rainey, as Rainey is going to be stuck in the middle groove here. It's going to give Zittel some nice little clean air for a short time, as there goes the 21 trying to make a move on Zittel, and that is not going to happen, though. But looks like Matt Williamson's going to be able to make that run there on the inside lane, and it's going to be clear of Zittel. But Zittel's able to gain.
Oh, we got a problem. Paul Sargent off in the grass through the tri-oval, brings it onto the track slow. I think we're going to say green. He's going fast enough. But he just brought a whole bunch of dirt and mud and grass out onto the tri-oval, and it might catch somebody out.
It might be, as, oh man, I'm watching back real quick of the replay. He just got loose, and he went way down and tearing up all the logos and stuff. That painter is not going to be happy about that. But great save, though, for Sargent, able slowed it up to about 80 mile an hour, but still kept the momentum going. But man, that was a close call there. That would have been a big game changer for a lot of people.
Yeah, it would have really thrown a wrench in a lot of drivers' plans, whether they thought it was a good wrench or a bad wrench. Who knows? As here's Zittel door to door with his teammate, the Rain Man. And Charlie Widener just up the road as well.
Yep, and Zittel's trying to get that line going. You can see, I'm actually surprised Charlie Widener being up top there. And Widener, I'm actually impressed with how far he is trying to go. He is trying to one-up Vrooman there when it comes to the overcut. But, I mean, John Kay has already got around Steve Vrooman, I've noticed as well. But Widener doing everything he can, especially after everything that happened with the EOL penalty. Still a great run for Widener as Kyle Zittel barely gets clear of Garrett Rainey. But Rainey's got the momentum there coming back to the start-finish line as Zittel's still giving Rainey some fits.
Rainey has been scrappy all night. He needs a run like this. He's quite good at Nashville Superspeedway as well. He'll be pretty happy with where he sits right now. This has kind of been a par for the course sort of night for Kyle Zittel. Maybe a little bit quieter than what we've seen. But we talked about it. He's confident here. He's showing out early, or rather has showed out all night. And Larry Eddy gonna stick his nose into this battle with much fresher tires. Where can he go? He's up into the gray.
Way up to the high side and gonna have the tires as they are gonna be 3 wide here for a moment. Zittel backs out slightly. Figure I'm gonna just wait here for a second and then make the move. As Chad Stearns further backs, makes a move on Jan Van Leer. Things are getting interesting all around as Kyle Zittel still on the back bumper of Garrett Rainey, trying to see if he can make a move on Garrett Rainey here.
20 laps to go. It'll be 19 at the stripe for Brody Gunter. He is uncontested up front, but will he have to make another stop? Does he have enough fuel?
That's the interesting part. It just depends on how hard he's pushing. A lot of these guys are going to be really running it to the end as Charlie Whitner's now getting passed by the 4 as well of Larry Eddy. This is going to be really interesting here, especially with us getting ready to be 17 to go. How far some of these drivers how far are these drivers willing to push their trucks without running out of fuel? Because fuel is going to be the big question mark as Vrooman is pretty much towing Gunther along now, I've just noticed, and Vrooman's trying to stay on that lead lap in case anything happens.
And this is Josh Freed making a pass for position on Steve Vrooman, so if nothing else, Freed is in a good spot. Sort of on his way forward on fresher tires, definitely with enough fuel. He's leapfrog the double O in the running order. And to your point a second ago about Charlie Widener, we call him Charging Charlie for a reason and expect nothing less as long as all 4 tires are still on that truck. He's had a wonderful night, and he's hoping to finish it strong here in the last 16 and a half laps.
And I'm looking at lap times now. This battle between Garrett Rainey and Kyle Zittel are actually closing in on Charlie Whitner here, and I think they're kind of realizing that got some drivers. Oh man, that was close of being disastrous there for Zittel. I think he might have touched the wall there too.
I think they all might have got a piece of it. They all followed Charlie up in there as Charlie took a bite out of it as well.
Yeah, Charlie's, I think his tires have been long gone. I think same with Rainey and Zittel, but man, just looking at the lap times though, Charlie's about 0.3 of a second slower than Zittel and Rainey, and man, this could get real interesting here for a battle for 4th as Kyle really gets up the track.
And you can hear Zittel grabbing a gear. He's got a good run here through the tri-oval. He's got the real estate down low. Can he complete the pass? Rainey is looking for the momentum here off the top.
He's trying. It looks like Rainey's getting the momentum again. This is giving Charlie Whitner an opportunity to at least try to maybe run away a little bit here. Oh boy, Charlie Whitner had a blink out there for a moment. Comes back too, but still gets the momentum on Rainey, and he is trying on the inside again to get the run, but it looks like side by side going into one, but is Kyle going to be able to make the move, and Rainey just gets the momentum on that middle groove again.
Oh, you're right. Charging Charlie is not charging right now. He is falling pretty quickly as Andy Poliski is coming down pit road. But he's He's falling right into the lap of Garrett Rainey and Kyle Zittel. 4th, 5th, and 6th, just about nose to tail. Brody Gunter's still leading by 7.5 seconds over Lucas Carver. Mike Milfeld is not too far up the road here in the 3rd position.
And he's right now, and with the way this is going, Milfeld, I think, is trying to save fuel. I mean, he's losing time. Well, he's back and forth on losing time between gaining on Widner and losing, but now Zittle's able to get another run on Garrett Rainey, and Zittle's going to hold a little bit of that middle groove, but Rainey's going to use that side draft to get on Zittle, and Zittle's not able to make the pass work. Side by side coming back to the start-finish line, it's going to be Rainey barely out front. But man, these guys are fighting really hard, and it's kind of helping out Widner now, who is about a second ahead of both Rainey and Zittle now with the way these guys are battling.
It's one of those times where these two are teammates, and they're probably not saying very much to each other in their Discord server right now. Maybe a bit frustrated, running hard, closing in on 10 laps to go.
10 laps to go. I think the other thing too is Ellison's probably, I'm thinking of just, especially I just noticed too, you've got the Alabama gang 5, 6, 7, and 8 all lined up, and Ellison and Kay are on Ellison is technically pitted on lap 93. Kay is on fresher tires on lap 111. But Ellison is closing in on this gap, and Ellison's probably like, all right, you two keep fighting for me. I'll just take your guys' positions instead, and I'll be the top dog for Alabama again.
Whoa, man! Rainey chops the nose off of Zittle. Clear by an inch, maybe 2.
Oh, man, and Rainey got sideways because Zittle tapped him on the back bumper. My goodness, they are going to be almost hitting the wall. Oh, my goodness, and these guys are teammates?
Yeah, they sure are. Rainey, the team boss. Paul Ellison, a spiritual teammate and spiritual Alabaman, as that was a hard shot to the wall there for Kyle Zittle. Lifted the right front off the ground.
Oh, man, they are really going at it now, and I think Ellison's starting to love this now, seeing these guys. I know Charlie Widner's probably loving this because he can try to run away.
Yeah.
I mean, Widner, I'm kind of surprised. Lap 84 was when he pitted. And he's on the lead lap. We're working lap 40 through 2, getting ready to lap 43. And, I mean, probably going to have about 8 laps to go, 7 laps to go. And I'm surprised Charlie's able to make this go as long as he has. I'd be curious here. We're about to get when Charlie gets to lap 144, that's 60 laps nonstop racing. So I wonder if Charlie somehow managed to save some fuel.
Maybe so. Maybe hoping for a late race caution, but maybe he's good. Maybe he's just magic.
Yeah, and Zittle's able to get around Garrett Rainey. I just see on the chat there, on the in-game chat, Zittle's just saying, that's a wall, brother. So I think it's safe to say that both of them are messing with each other now at this point. But man, this is getting wild and crazy here now. Oh, and I just heard Charlie Widner calling out that he is coming to pits.
Man.
So 61 laps Charlie's able to make, and just great run for Charlie Widner, just strategy not going in the right spot. So that's already telling us 5 lap difference there for Michael Milfeld Jr. So is Michael Milfeld Jr. going to make it now on fuel? Is Brody Gunther going to make it? What about Lucas Carver? These guys have pitted 2 laps later. I mean, and you know how big this pit window was with how this fuel window was. So who's been pushing and who's not been pushing?
Let's ride on board with your race leader. Let's listen for the clutch into turn number 3. He is keeping it in gear. He's not downshifting though, and I think that could be telling. Keeping it in 4th, using as little fuel as he can while still keeping the motor running.
Yeah, he's off throttle to a while. I mean, he's going in the corner. He's not getting on the throttle until he's already midway through turn 2. So it already says how long he's going on the fuel. I mean, as we're getting ready to go to four laps to go as we're completing lap 147 now. So, he's got to make it for another 3 more laps here, and this is going to get really interesting here with as we're actually going to be 4 laps to go, 3 or 4 laps to go here, and things are getting very close here when it comes to fuel.
Well, we'll keep an eye on the leader because we won't have to be far behind him. You talked about Steve Roman letting Jan Van Leer through earlier. Well, Roman is back.
Yep, and Roman's giving him a good battle here. Cleft Alpha calling out the pits way down in the field. Garrett Rainey is actually losing position to John Kay, the other Alabama Gang team member, as Garrett Rainey is now kind of getting himself a little bit of situation here. Paul Ellison gets around Garrett Rainey. John Kay not too far behind either. But man, this is getting wild up here. I think Garrett Rainey's trying to save as much fuel as he can as well. And we're seeing a lot of situations here going on as Kyle Zittel has actually lost some ground to Michael Milfeld Jr. He is running a 1/10 of a second quicker, but I don't know if Zittel's able to make anything, as there's Charlie Winter right behind Kyle Zittel. But I think Charlie Winter only took fuel, and yes, I looked at pit time just now. Charlie Winter only took fuel just to try to make it to as close as he can without losing any too many positions.
A lap and a half to go here in the Slingin Crete 151 at the Nashville Superspeedway, and Brody Gunter is looking for back-to-back victories here at the Concrete King of all. Does he have enough fuel for one more circuit? He needs 1.33 miles. 1 to go.
1 to go, and Brody's got a 12-second gap over Lucas Carver, and everyone is separated for the top 5 by almost close to a second. Brody Gunther, all he's got to do is just coast it all the way in if he wants to.
Everybody wants it, but he has it. The big momentum. Across the halfway mark of the season, Brody Gunter now will pick up his 4th checkered flag of season number 11. Brody Gunter goes back-to-back at the Nashville Superspeedway. Gunter wins the Slingin Crete 151 here at Nashville. Lucas Carver's season best second-place finish, and Mike Milfeld on the podium for the 2nd time this season. They had enough gas. Kyle Zittel has enough. He finishes 4th. Paul Ellison 5th. Garrett Rainey 6th. As it's Alabama Gang 2, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Impressive. What an impressive run there for the Alabama Gang. Really great run for them. And Brody Gunther, what a run for Brody Gunther. Once again, just proving time and time again why he is the ringer of this league currently.
Gunter, after grabbing his 20th career pole earlier tonight, it is career victory number 18. His favorite stat is out of balance. At one point, for the longest time, he had the same number of poles and wins. And then he started getting the poles and not winning the races. And I think he's won from the pole every race this season, so he's not bringing that stat back into balance. At the end of the day, I don't think it cares because he's doing the donuts.
Yep. Well, I think it's safe bet there. He's got plenty of fuel to do enough burnouts. So, I heard Garrett Rainey on the radio saying that he ran out of fuel. So Garrett Rainey could not go any more laps. But man, what a dominating run again by Brody Gunther. And he made that thing last a long time. So he's able to just burn it down for a while. So I think it's safe bet that Brody Gunther had plenty of fuel to make it to the end. My goodness.
I think so. I know you and I called into question multiple times throughout the course of this race just how things were going to shake out. But there was no doubt Brody Gunther was the fastest driver here tonight. And as he parks it at the start-finish line, he will be victorious for the 4th time. For the 4th time in season number 11. Let's go ahead and get a full finishing rundown here after 151 grueling laps and a long green flag run to the checkers here It is Brody Gunter, Lucas Carver, Mike Milfeld Jr., your podium finishers. We'll talk to these three gentlemen here in just a moment. Fourth place for Kyle Zittel, and it is Paul Ellison, the 5 for 55. Garani in 6th, John Kay in 7th, Chad Stearns, Josh Freed, and Matt Schlosser, your top 10 finishers. It is the 11th for Jan Van Leer this evening. Joshua Maticek will finish in 12th. Steve Roman in 13th, Parker Donaldson in 14th, and Rodney Matney will round out your top 15. 16th for Jack Watts. Matt Williamson will finish in 17th. Chris Mackey, Hayden Palumbo, and Larry Eddy in his first start of the season will claim a P20. 21st for Gary Clark Jr. It is Charlie Widener, Zach Lockett, Austin Hollyfield, and Joshua Rutherford, your top 25. Brantley Gainey will finish in 26th. It is 27th for Paul Sargent, Corey Clark in 28th, George Jackson, and Clef Douth at your top 30. Tyler Bergert in 31st. Andy Poliski is not running, I do believe. At the end of the race, he pulled in with just a handful of laps to go and did not come back out on the track. Neither did Jordan Jorneau after his pit stop on lap 91. He'll finish in 33rd. Eric Breeding, with early problems, retires in the 34th spot. And Corey Rutherford, a victim of the big one, on lap number 27. He will finish in the 35th and final position as Pascal Simard did not take the green flag here this evening. We'll go in search now of your podium finishers. And it's a good night when we get to talk to Mr. Mike Milfeld Jr. It's an even better night when I don't have to stare at his tailgate all evening long. But great to get to talk to you, partner. It's been a while. Congrats on a podium here.
Hey, Tommy. Thank you.
I mean, what an interesting night. You had a buffet of strategy options, especially for you, considering that you started plumb last in this field here tonight.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy. There was like 3 or 4 different strategies going on. It was hard to keep track of, but it just worked out. I picked the right strategy, and it worked out for me. I can't say I'm smarter than anybody else. It just worked. It was lucky.
I mean, what were sort of the options that you were mulling over as this one got started?
It was that first set of tires, when to take them, when not to take them. You didn't want to use them up too early, but I needed stage points after last week, so I gambled and took a set early, and it got me some stage points. And I didn't realize it, but it also got me in the fuel window for one more stop, which was very fortunate.
I just realized that, Tyler, you and I didn't talk about doing the post-race interviews, but if you've got a question here for Mike Milfeld, have at it.
I was going to say, he kind of answered it for me. I mean, you came into this race, you were sitting tied for 11th with Williamson. You made that move there, like you said, on the pits. Like, what was your game plan going into that? Because I'm just kind of curious, because I know you were looking at Chris Mackey being down 10 points going into this race.
I wasn't really paying attention to the points. I just knew I needed a decent race, and since I'm on probation from last week, I needed not to run into anybody. So I was just taking it easy.
Well, fair point on that. And I mean, hey, you taking it easy, you're able to make the fuel runs last a little while and got yourself a 3rd place finish out of it.
Find out how Brody did it, because he was way faster than everybody and still saved fuel.
I don't know. I wish I knew that answer myself too, especially after seeing him race in real life. So I'm in the same boat when it comes to that.
Well, you go for the stage points, and you get the stage points, and you get the finishing points too. You have your cake and eat it too after your no good, very bad week last week. So good stuff. Good to get to talk to you once again. Let's get some shout outs in before we let you go.
Thank the Venom League. These guys are fun to race with. I didn't realize how much fun it was going to be until I started racing. And I'm like, these are a good group of guys to race with. So thank Zittel and all the admins. Thank you guys for the broadcast. Thank Tommy for stepping in. Thank my teammates, Heath, Charlie, Jack, and I think that's it.
Well, partner, it's great to get to talk to you here on a Tuesday night. I will see you on the track, I'm sure, on Thursday night at Talladega in the Max VCNC Home Designs Truck Series. But take care, and we'll hope to talk to you again on the All-Star race next Tuesday.
Thanks, guys.
Alrighty, we'll move up one in the order, and it is the first podium of the season for Lucas Carver, and just in the nick of time as well. Welcome back to the booth, and welcome back to the podium.
it's nice to be here. I brought a glass bottle of Coke. The camera isn't on, but for Amigo, I figured the best plan was just have a Coke ready to go. So
Yeah. And they'll appreciate the shout out as well, whether they get to see it or not. I'm sure the check is on the way.
That's right.
You were in the thick of it all night until basically the final fuel stop. I feel like every time we looked up, you were side by side, slamming doors, rubbing wheels with somebody. You had your work cut out early.
Yeah, the early run really felt that way. I got away in that first little stint, and then when the second caution came out, you had one of two options. You could either clear about the fourth or fifth place car and pull away, or you were in side by side racing. And I got the lucky draw of being in side by side racing right right when it got really tight and went a long run. So that lasted for quite a while. I believe me and Mr. Journeau had a little door contact, which he wasn't real thrilled about. But I mean, we had hit each other multiple times before that, so it was what it was. Got away from that, and then it all became a fuel strategy race after that. I don't know how many different strategies we had out there, but it was wild.
It was certainly had our heads spinning, and we weren't the ones driving the trucks out there on the track. Tyler, what you got here?
Yeah, I mean, Lucas, the way that strategy was, I don't know if you were involved, got caught up in that big wreck, but I've been trying to figure out with some of these drivers, like that situation there with when the big wreck happened. Just like, I'm kind of curious how, like, when the strategies really took over from that big wreck, like, did it feel like that was the right time for you to take tires, or to just even pit when the wreck happened back on lap 27, or was it a plan on trying to maybe just try to do what Brody was doing and the way the whole situation played out?
Usually, I would go with what Matt Slosser does, and John tried that, and it didn't really work out great for them. Slosser's always really good on strategy, but the reason it didn't work for him was because that caution at 27-28 came out, and at that point, the thought process was that it's about 121 laps to the end. We knew if you didn't shift, it's the first time ever on Nashville Superspeedway not shifting, you could get about 60 laps. So it was like, man, if you can just fuel save it, you might be all right. But surely there'll be another caution, right? We've had cautions. That's what's going to happen. So pitted in at 29, just so happened Brody went with me. He drove away, but I got away and then got running there and decided I'd run it to try to keep up as much as I could in that second stint. And when I came back out, I think we had 61 to go and I had 60 and a half laps. And I drove for about 10 laps and there was no shot of me catching Brody. And I was like, at this point, we have to save at least a lap and a half of fuel. So I backed it down and got my lap and a half and then just decided I'd run a smooth, steady thing, pray to the gods that he just drives too quick and runs out of fuel, which was never going to happen, apparently, at two more laps in that thing. By the way, I finished with a lap and a half after running 8 seconds slower than him. But, it's whatever, Junior Johnson roll cage shit. No, I'm just kidding. He's ain't good. So that's kind of where it fell in right there was that lap 30. We decided split it in half, give her a go, had a spare set of tires if we had a late caution and see what happens.
I got to look at it this way, too. Going into the points, you were going into from last week, you sitting there fourth in points, and you've seen how situations can get with Brody Gunther there when it comes to points. How's it feel for you knowing that you've had probably got yourself in the top 10 to get yourself some stage points there, as well as then now finishing second, giving yourself a really good opportunity and points? How's that feel for you when it comes to trying to secure yourself into the chase as we get closer to the end of the regular season?
That's absolutely my thought process. I'm a guy who very, very rarely wins, and by very rarely in 6 seasons doing this, I've won twice, but I can generally get a lot of points. So in the let's see, leaning toward my favorite drivers, Ryan Blaney and Martin, sometimes you just do point days. You go out there, you put your car, your truck, wherever it can get, you earn as many points as you can get, and you just kind of claw in the standings, and people don't pay any attention, and claw in the standings, and the next thing you know, you're 12th to 10th to 8th to 4th to, I don't know after tonight, but I'd imagine knocking on the top 3. So.
And to elaborate on that further as well, anybody that followed the Venom Truck Series over on Turn 200 knows that last season was quite rough, to say the very least. I mean, you've not been, making the most noise simply because you haven't won a race this season, but you've got 7 top 10s in the first 10 races. You're finally back on the podium. I mean, you are having a really good comeback season, knock on wood.
Yeah, that last season was disheartening to say the least. We were just talking about it. This race last year, I didn't qualify well at all, and drove from the back, get to 10th, got a little squirrely about 10th place, and we get a caution, and Paul's internet blinks out, and I get wrecked with like 20 to go. And that was the story of last season. If it wasn't bad qualifying or getting wrecked from the lead of a race, it was just some unfortunate event. So it's nice to just kind of settle down into a nice long run, stay smooth, stay out of trouble. That's 2-0X weeks in a row. We will take that and take it to the bank.
You certainly could take those at any point that you can get them. Great stuff here tonight. Great to get to talk to you once again as well. Let's get some shout-outs here from the middle step.
Enjoyed it as always. Wonderful to hear the wonderful Turn 200 half booth mixed with PGR. Shout out both you guys. Sad we didn't get a broadcast, but I'll be watching that recording for sure, just like every week. Shout out mom and dad, sister that came to visit this week for Memorial Day, my beautiful wife, Kim, who doesn't pay attention to this and only knows I finished second because I flashed a peace sign at her. As always, shout out Lord Savior Jesus Christ. That's why we pray before every race. Everybody shout out KFB, the man. Hope he was watching over this for some reason. It's racing.
Well, he certainly saw a lot of him out there on the track this evening, and I think y'all did him proud for sure. Great stuff here tonight. Keep it up, partner. We'll see you back on track next week in the All-Star race, but go celebrate a hard-fought P2 here tonight.
Thank you, boys. Y'all have a good one.
And now for the man of the hour for the fourth time this season. It is Brody Gunter who will take home the checkered flag in quite dominant fashion. If the uncertainty about pit strategy ever is looming over your head, just be about 2 seconds a lap faster than anybody else, and you don't have to worry about it. That's a nice problem to have.
I wouldn't say that's how much faster I was a lap, but
It seemed like it.
I got lucky for once, I will say. I mean, there's a couple of times this season now my wins have been because of luck, but I mean, I guess part of it sometimes. I mean, a lot of people, that's kind of how you have to play. It's just got to be the best one, the right strategy. So I feel like I definitely was tonight. Pitting on lap 30 was definitely the way to go there. I think Chad and Josh Freed had a really good shot of winning this thing because they had way better long run pace in my opinion, and that was what those 2 runs were, was 2 full fuel runs. So I felt like if they had pitted with me, they probably would have passed me when been in front of me for the second half of the run. But I'll take it. That was the first one to try it.
The only real time you and I have talked about anything that's happened on track this season was on our conversation in the Venom cast right after Lime Rock Park. You talked about sort of having to be on the button, on the chip all the time to sort of stay in your rhythm, but I don't feel like that really suits this track very well. I mean, how much of a change-up is it to come here to Nashville Superspeedway and try and find consistency and speed?
Yeah, well, I didn't have any practice for this one, whether, the Monday night practice or like any practice at all. I just got home like right before the session went live. So I just got back from North Carolina. I didn't have any much idea going into it, but I think there was a good race to probably have that happen too because I love Nashville. It's probably my favorite NASCAR track. I mean, I like the fact that it's a 1.5-mile configuration feel, but yet it being smaller and flatter, it makes it where you have to drive it with the brakes and like bouncing the car more than like a Charlotte or a Vegas where you'll, kind of run flat out for half the run. So I really like how you have to drive it here and especially save tires. I mean, the concrete here really burns to the things. So I don't think I was the best one at it, but I feel like I had a really good system going of letting off very early, which also helped, the fuel saving as well. So that's what I was kind of doing, was just coasting into the corner and then rolling it back into it to help get the car rotated and point straight for the exit.
Tyler, what do you got? Go ahead.
In here too. I was gonna say, I'm gonna have to jump in here too a little bit because I know for sure, especially when you were talking about with barely making it on time, making it home in time with having the ride that you're going to be doing for the Cars Tour for the North Wilkesboro, you're able to get the points lead. I know the points is going to probably feel good for you as long as you're able to hang in on those points to be able to get yourself in the chase, but I'm kind of curious now that you're getting yourself some more opportunities to race real life. How much of this that you've been able to do with the Venom Truck League, how much is this going to help you, especially when, if I recall, it's going to be North Wilkesboro you're going to be racing in the Cars Tour. over at North Wilkesboro. How's that going to help? How will that help you when you're doing all the practice runs and stuff for going into North Wilkesboro, and you're going to be more than likely going against drivers that are fighting hard for the points, say for like Mason Walters, Caden Honeycutt, Trayton Lapovich, Connor Jones, and Brody Monahan. How is that going to feel for you when you're trying to take what you've been able to learn here with these guys with Venom, changing that and bringing that mindset into real life racing, as well as also the rest of the season for yourself for Venom as well?
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm obviously not able to be in the car as much as a lot of late model people, especially those cars tour drivers. But like I try to use iRacing the best thing I can to help me stay behind a wheel. It was really funny the day, going from being in a late model seat to then doing a Venom race. I don't think I've done that in the same day before. So it was definitely an interesting transition. I felt like I was sitting really high in the truck, that my wheel all weird. So I definitely had to adapt to that in the first couple of laps of this. But getting ready back for going wheel racing, I mean, I never really have crazy expectations for it. My goal was always just to have fun, really soak in the moment. So I mean, that's probably exactly what I'm gonna do for this for these events as well. But I just try and treat everyone kind of like, I mean, Kyle said, I never know my last race is going to be, so I always treat each race like it might be my last, because I never know. And I always try to take full advantage of each one. And I would say do the same thing. I do the same thing in iRacing as well with these guys. I mean, a lot of things can happen in life, and I always, treat every race and win with a lot of, I mean, like, earning respect. I feel like, because you never know when it might be going, like you said, like he said, your last one. So I mean, going into those races will be very difficult because of their seat time. But like I said, I always just try to enjoy it and soak it in, and then therefore try to adapt as the day goes on.
Well, this was another clinic for you here tonight, 4th win of the season, and you do it in spectacular fashion, and a long run to the checkers. Congrats on the win. Let's get some shout-outs in once again here from the top step.
Yes, sir. So work in progress. Good run, I think, for all of us. I hate for Corey. I think he possibly could have top 10 with the speed he had in the long run. But everyone work in progress. Everyone in Venom, all the drivers showing out, especially the admins for putting on this event. PGI for broadcasting this, and for you, Tommy, for hopping on tonight. I about said Tony 200 at the start of that because I was used to hearing your voice. As well as my dad. It's his birthday today, so happy birthday to him.
Happy birthday, Dad.
And also to the entire Busch family. I doubt any of them will obviously tune into this tonight, but I hope they all know that the entire racing community, thoughts and prayers are with them as they obviously go through the difficulty that they just faced.
Yeah, certainly they're in our thoughts, and they were well represented on the track here tonight, and they will be again next week for the KFB All-Star Memorial next Tuesday night at Dover. Another concrete track. I know you want an All-Star race victory, and the All-Star race winner gets to pick the venue for season number 12, as is tradition. I am begging you. I love Dover, but please let's have some fun with the All-Star race pick next week or next season rather. I mean, what are some tracks that you have noodling around that we could see the Venom Truck Series at for the All-Star race next season if you win?
Well, yeah, Dover, I mean, it's actually one I quite enjoy. It's kind of a very similar format to this. I mean, the fact of being concrete, it's a cheese grater on the tires. So that should be a very cool all-star race. I think it's also cool the fact we're doing the same thing the actual NASCAR is doing. So, I mean, it's kind of like you have an idea of what it might be like, but I mean, at the same time, very different cars and real and sim, so not much carries over. But I'm looking forward to that one, just hoping for the best starting spot possible because it's random grid, and I've always gotten not in the top 10 starting grids, so I know passing's going to be difficult with how the dirty air and how the outside line's been the place to defend at, so hoping just for a good starting grid. But I mean, if I were to win, I mean, I'd probably pick my home track, New Smyrna. I'm sure Tyler would be happy about that.
Yes.
I mean,
I'll tell you,
that's fine. Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I'll tell you this. I think Mike Triscaro will pick fall with me, and I think Kyle Zittle will laugh at me because if that ends up happening, I'll take a week off of the broadcast booth and jump into that because I mean, Brody knows my real life experience I've got at New Smyrna, so I'm kind of like, you know what? That would be kind of fun to just be like, all right, see how everything is compared to everything on the virtual stuff, because I always have fun with running virtual and then running real life. So if that happens, oh, I am going to be so down for that.
I mean,
I'll do
it
everything
is
I
the
can for
All-Star
you.
Open.
Mm-hmm.
I'll do everything I
That
can
is
for you then in that case.
sweet.
Well, we're looking forward to that. Looking forward to seeing you. Hopefully, not have to do too much work at Dover next week, but we will see. But go celebrate this one. Go party hard, and we'll hopefully talk to you again next Tuesday night.
All right, thank you.
Of course, it will not be me talking to Bertie Gunter next Tuesday night unless I'm talking to him after he crashes me because I got in his way. No, it'll be Michael Triscaro back next week. Appreciate you for jumping in here. Any thoughts to close out what was a pretty interesting night at the Nashville Superspeedway?
That was a fun race. I mean, I know we had that huge wreck, but the long run we had from that point, from the lap 27 wreck, running green the entire way, like what Milfelt Jr. said, I loved how we seen the green flags, pit stops. I love how we seen how the strategy took effect, and we seen about 3 different pit strategies that were race strategies happening all at once, and I was impressed. It was a really great run, and Brody Gunther was able to run away with it and be able to make the strategy work for him. And we've seen some other drivers that took some late runs and was able to come away and be able to salvage a really good finish out of it. So I love this race. This is the one reason why I love Nashville. And we had a really great race, and they put on an awesome show. And I'm looking forward to seeing the All-Star race coming up here next week, and that's going to be a lot of fun at Dover.
Yeah, it should be a lot of fun at the Monster Mile as always. Catch us back here on PGR Esports next Tuesday night, 8:15 p.m. Eastern Time. As always, PGR's got a full slate of fun stuff for you here in the week coming up. Appreciate Michael and everybody at PGR letting me come up for one more night. You'll see me back on track next week, but I don't know for how long because I have to work my way out of the All-Star Open, so we'll see about that. Thank you to everybody with the Venom Truck Series. Shout out to Kyle Zittel as always, and the drivers. Thank you for tuning in as well. Hopefully you had a good time here this evening and watching a very entertaining race here at the Nashville Superspeedway. On behalf of everybody with the Venom Truck Series and everybody at PGR Esports, on behalf of Tyler Vickery, until we meet again, I'm Tommy Cook saying so long, and congratulations to Bertie Gunter on his 4th win of season number 11 of the Venom Truck Series here at the Nashville Superspeedway after the Slingin Crete 151. Have a good night, everybody.